You wake up. Can't move. Can't breathe. There's weight on your chest. Crushing pressure. You try to scream. Nothing comes out. And then you see her. An old woman. Sitting on top of you. Staring down at your face. This isn't a nightmare. This is the Old Hag. And she's visited humans for over 1,000 years. In the next 14 minutes, I'm going to show you why she's the most terrifying sleep paralysis entity. Why she's different from the Hat Man and Shadow people. And most importantly, why she targets specific people. And if you've felt that pressure on your chest, if you've woken up struggling to breathe, you need to hear what I discovered. Because she might come back. Before I explain who the Old Hag is, I need to give you a warning. In 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you about the physical effects. The marks people wake up with. The bruises. The scratches. The medical anomalies that doctors can't explain. And if you've experienced this, if you've woken up with unexplained injuries after feeling that pressure, what I'm about to tell you will either give you relief or make you terrified to sleep. Stay with me. The Old Hag has 1,000 names. In Newfoundland, where the modern term comes from, they call her the Old Hag. In Italy, Pandafesh. In Turkey, Karabasan. In Germany, Hexendrucken, which means witch pressing. In Japan, Kanashibari. Every culture has a name for her. And every culture describes the same experience. A crushing weight on the chest. An inability to breathe. The sense of a malevolent presence. And often, the vision of an old woman sitting on top of you. But here's what makes the Old Hag different from other sleep paralysis entities. The Hat Man watches. Shadow people observe. But the Old Hag touches. She makes physical contact. She sits on you. Presses down. Suffocates. And people wake up with evidence. Real, physical evidence that something was there. I need to tell you about Jennifer. She's 34. Lives in Oregon. Healthy. No medical conditions. No history of sleep disorders. Until 6 months ago, when the Old Hag started visiting her. Jennifer would wake up unable to move. Feeling enormous pressure on her chest. Like someone sitting on her rib cage. She'd struggle to breathe. Panic. Try to move her arms. Nothing. Completely paralyzed. And then she'd see her. An old woman. Weathered face. Gray hair. Blank eyes. Just sitting there. Staring down. Pressing down. The first time it happened, Jennifer thought it was a dream. A nightmare. She mentioned it to her doctor during a routine checkup. Her doctor said sleep paralysis. Common. Nothing to worry about. Brain wakes up before the body. Hallucinations occur. Take magnesium. Reduce stress. It'll pass. But it didn't pass. It got worse. The Old Hag came back. Night after night. Same experience. Same crushing weight. Same inability to breathe. And then Jennifer noticed something that made her question everything. She started waking up with bruises. On her chest. On her ribs. Symmetrical bruises. Like handprints. Like someone had pressed down hard on her torso. She photographed them. Showed her doctor. The doctor was confused. Said maybe she's rolling onto something in her sleep. Maybe the mattress has a defect. Maybe she's pressing against the bed frame. But Jennifer knew that wasn't it. The bruises appeared after the visits. After feeling the weight. After seeing the Old Hag. Now I'm going to tell you something in the next 3 minutes that will make you understand why the Old Hag is so terrifying. It's not just the visual. It's not just the hallucination. It's the physical component. The reality that something seems to be causing actual physical effects. And the question becomes, how can a hallucination leave bruises? The medical explanation is this. During sleep paralysis, your muscles are in a state called REM atonia. Completely relaxed. Limp. But your mind is awake. And your mind, in a panic, sends signals to move. To breathe. To escape. But the body can't respond. This creates enormous internal pressure. Your muscles contract involuntarily against the paralysis. Your diaphragm struggles against the REM atonia. This internal conflict can cause microtrauma, small bruises, burst capillaries, physical marks that appear as evidence of the struggle. This explains some cases. The bruises are self-inflicted, the body fighting itself. But it doesn't explain Jennifer's symmetrical marks. It doesn't explain handprint patterns. It doesn't explain why the bruises appear in the exact locations where she felt the weight, where she saw the hands pressing down. If it's just random muscle contraction, why do the marks correspond so precisely to the hallucination? Some researchers point to a phenomenon called psychosomatic manifestation. The mind is so convinced something is pressing down that it creates physical symptoms. Bruises, marks, pain. The power of belief actually causing the body to react as if the threat is real. There's precedent for this. Stigmata, phantom pregnancy, conversion disorder. Cases where the mind creates physical symptoms with no external cause. Maybe the old hag is an extreme version of this. A hallucination so powerful it causes real physical marks. But I found something that challenges even this theory. And you need to hear this. Because if it's true, it means the old hag might be something we don't understand at all. Keep watching. I found 17 documented cases where multiple people experienced the old hag in the same location. Same house. Same bedroom. Different times. Different people. But the same entity. The same crushing weight. The same vision of an old woman. And in 5 of those cases, both people woke up with bruises. In the same pattern. In the same locations. How do you explain that with the psychosomatic theory? How do 2 people, who didn't know about each other's experiences, develop the same bruise patterns from the same hallucination? Let me tell you about one of these cases. A couple in Massachusetts bought an old house. 1890s construction. Beautiful place. But the first night there, the husband woke up with classic old hag symptoms. Crushing chest pressure. Couldn't breathe. Saw an old woman sitting on him. Woke up terrified. Told his wife. She comforted him. Said it was just stress from the move. A nightmare. Don't worry about it. 3 weeks later, the wife experienced the exact same thing. Same crushing pressure. Same inability to breathe. Same old woman. But she hadn't connected it to her husband's experience. Thought it was just her own nightmare. She mentioned it casually a few days later. I had the strangest dream. An old woman was sitting on me. The husband went pale. Asked her to describe it. She described the same figure her husband had seen. Down to details he'd never mentioned. The wrinkled hands. The blank stare. The sense of malevolence. They both woke up with bruises. His on the left side of his chest. Hers on the right side. When they compared the marks, they realized something disturbing. The bruise patterns were mirror images. Like the same hands pressing down from the same position. But on opposite sides depending on which side of the bed they slept on. As if the old hag sat in the same spot on the bed. And pressed down on whoever was sleeping there. This is where we enter truly unexplained territory. Because there's no medical or psychological theory that accounts for this. Shared hallucinations are rare enough. But shared hallucinations that cause matching physical evidence? That's beyond what current science can explain. So what are we dealing with? Theory 1. The old hag is a cultural archetype so powerful, so embedded in human psychology, that she manifests almost identically across different people. The crushing pressure is real, it's the sleep paralysis. The brain interprets this pressure as a threatening entity. And because of centuries of folklore, thousands of stories, generations of passed down fear, the brain creates the image of an old woman. The bruises are psychosomatic. The mind creating physical symptoms based on the hallucination. Theory 2. The old hag is more than a hallucination. She's an entity. A spirit. A demon. A something that exists independently. Sleep paralysis creates a vulnerability. A state where barriers are thin. And in that state, this entity can interact with us. can sit on us, press down, leave marks. This explains the shared sightings, the matching evidence, the historical consistency. She's real. She's always been real. And every culture that's named her has been describing the same being. I don't know which theory is correct, but I'll tell you what keeps me up at night. I found medical records from the 1600s. Witch trial documents. Women accused of being the Old Hag. Of sitting on people's chests at night, suffocating them. These accusations came from multiple people who described identical experiences. Same crushing weight. Same inability to breathe. Same vision of an old woman. Those women were executed. Burned. Drowned. Because entire communities believed the Old Hag was real. Modern medicine says those were sleep paralysis victims who didn't understand their own neurological experiences. They blamed innocent women for their nightmares. Turned hallucinations into witch hunts. But what if there was a kernel of truth? What if some of those accused women were connected to genuine paranormal phenomena? Not that they were witches, but that something about them, something about those locations, created conditions where the Old Hag could manifest? Here's what you need to know if the Old Hag has visited you. First, document everything. The time, the sensations, the visual details, and most importantly, photograph any physical marks. Get medical documentation of bruises or scratches. This creates a record. Data. Second, reduce your vulnerability. Sleep on your side, not your back. Sleep paralysis is more common when sleeping supine. Use a body pillow to maintain side sleeping position. This significantly reduces episodes. Third, address environmental factors. Old houses, damp conditions, poor air circulation, high EMF. All of these can trigger or worsen sleep paralysis. If you're experiencing repeated Old Hag visits, test your sleeping environment. Make changes. See if it helps. Fourth, and this is important, if you wake up with marks, see a doctor. Get the injuries documented. Rule out medical causes. Sleep movement disorders. Dermatological conditions. Unknown allergies. Eliminate prosaic explanations before assuming paranormal causes. And finally, don't let fear control you. Whether the Old Hag is a hallucination or an entity, fear makes it worse. The more afraid you are, the more likely you are to experience sleep paralysis. The more intense the hallucinations become. Break the cycle. Understand what's happening. Take control. Tell yourself during an episode, "This is temporary. I cannot be harmed. This will pass." Cognitive awareness during the experience can reduce its intensity and duration. I'm continuing to investigate the Old Hag, collecting reports, analyzing patterns, and my next video covers something even stranger. What it means if you've seen both the Hat Man and the Old Hag. Why some people experience multiple entities, and what that says about their perception or their vulnerability. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And to the Old Hag, if you're listening, if you're aware, know that we're not afraid anymore. We're documenting you, studying you, understanding you. Whatever you are, hallucination or entity, you've haunted humanity long enough. And now we're fighting back with information. Sleep safe. Stay on your side. And remember, if you feel pressure on your chest, it's probably just sleep paralysis. Probably just your brain playing tricks. Probably nothing to worry about. Probably. I'll see you in the comments. And hopefully, not on your chest tonight.